We've got a few new bottles of whiskey that we'll do a quick review on, and otherwise, here's some more whiskey rambling from us. Hi friends, I'm Laura, he's Troy, we're Baker Drinks. Welcome back to another While the Camera is Rolling. So while we're talking, we're going to sip on this new High West Cask strength. So it's a small batch, blend of whiskeys, 58.7% alcohol, and the plastic's always the hardest part. But I got it. I was trying to read the bottle. That's why I was struggling with it. That's a good pop. Great pop. Who cares what's in the bottle? It's a great pop. So it was actually pretty hard to find information on this. It took me a while because it's new. It's a new bottle. They don't have really any information on the bottle at all. It just has the proof. It says cask strength, a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys. Batch number 23B, maybe 17. The writing on here for the percent alcohol and the batch number is almost impossible to read. It's like it was smudged or something. But before we get too far into that, here's the information I did find on it. So it is a blend of MGP and Heaven Hill. There's no High West distillate in this. The MGP is 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley, and the Heaven Hill component is 78% corn, 10% rye, 12% malted barley. And they're 4 to 9 years old.
So this is what was supposed to replace the single barrel program, right? The special finishes.
That's what I feel like, but it doesn't make sense because it's not a single barrel program. It does say for baseline liquor.
I see that.
Which is confusing. That's a liquor store I got it at. So it's like they got an amount that would be actually more than one barrel because they had 300 something bottles. They're not going to get...
I think it was close to 350. And then since this one was at baseline, I've seen 2 other stores in Oregon that also have 300 plus bottles each.
But then I guess they're going to do 4 releases a year. They're using the same mash bill that they created this blend from, and they are going to do, so the first one comes out at cask strength, and then the other 3 releases have different finishes on them.
And it does say small batch on there.
Yeah, multiple times. It says a blend, and then there's a stamp, but I just don't, the part that's confusing is that it says for baseline liquor. Like, yeah. Why say that if...
So maybe they just created this big giant batch of small batch, and whatever stores decide they want a single barrel from High West, they buy an allotment from this batch.
I guess, because apparently there's over 46,000 bottles of it. So, you know, that's a lot of bottles. It's not... Small batch is such a strange term. It can mean anything.
Yeah. Well, it smells great, and I've already tasted it.
Of course you did. You were letting me ramble so you could be first in to the taste.
And I do get some of that Heaven Hill nuttiness in there.
I don't know that I get it on the nose.
Mm-mm. It's really good. I like it a lot. What do we pay for that?
You know, I don't even think I looked at the price tag. I want to say it was like $65, $70. I don't think it was a bad price.
I can look it up on the website.
But do I think it's better than what they got rid of?
No, not
definitely not. It's got a pretty good long finish.
Yeah, I still feel that spiciness in my mouth.
I'm a little shocked because I did watch a couple reviews, and basically everyone's hating on High West more than they were before.
Oh.
They said it didn't drink its proof. I feel like it does drink its proof.
I feel like it drinks every bit of that proof. This is spicy.
they said it didn't have a good finish. It's still finishing. Maybe everyone else that tried it drank it after drinking another cask strength. Maybe then it doesn't hold up. I'm not sure. But on the first sip,
$69.95 on the website.
Yeah, so $70. That's the price out the door. That's not before tax. So I think it's a $70 bottle. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Will I buy another one though? I don't know. What whiskey topic has been on your mind lately?
I mean, what whiskey topic hasn't been on my mind lately? I was listening to Bourbon Pursuit podcast recently. And, you know, they had all those guys on there, and they had Fred Minnick and the dude who runs Sealbox and a couple other whiskey influencers. And they were basically discussing, why does the whiskey influencing community, whether it's YouTube, podcast, magazine articles, whatever, why do they continue to promote bottom shelf whiskeys? And they had some pretty interesting takes on it. I feel like, you know, the panel in general, as a whole, that panel of people felt that those bottom shelfers were, you know, appropriately priced and placed in the liquor store. You know, they're the typically the entry level expressions from a distillery. They're younger, oftentimes lower proof, or you know, just not the best quality stuff that they put out. And they're like, why do we keep pushing this? And you know, ultimately it's because that's what people out there want to hear about the most.
Oh, well, for sure. We've done plenty of videos with that stuff, not because we love it, but more because it's requested. I would say lower tier whiskeys are the most requested.
Sure.
They are also the most viewed for some reason. And so we do a healthy mix, I think, with our channel. Yeah. We do stuff that we like to film. We do stuff that we know people like to watch, that will get high watches. And then we do stuff, if someone requests it and it's not something crazy, we'll purchase the bottle and do a review or a blind or whatever with it. If it's like a $500 bottle, that's probably not going to happen. I mean, I do appreciate people still putting requests in there, but if it's out of what I can put into my budget, then I'm not going to buy it, especially if it's not something that I really want. But these cheaper bottles, if it's $30, yeah, sure, I'll go pick up a $30 bottle and we'll use it in several videos.
They were specifically talking sub 30. So, you know,
I can't think of very many. Well, we live in Washington, so I think that skews my...
So like that OGD 114 over there,
over 30, isn't it?
I just paid $28 for that.
Oh, I thought it was over 30.
Nope. $28 for that. And
Early Times
I've seen it cheaper. Yep, Early Times 30. Bottled in bond is usually in the $20 to $25 range. You know, Evan Williams bottled in bond. There's a lot of decent bottles in that price range. But are those the bottles that when I come home from work after a long day that I'm reaching for to pour myself a drink of?
Well, it may not be what you're reaching for, but I would say that they are sold and bought by liquor stores way more than these other things.
Oh, yeah,
So it's more likely that someone's sitting at home watching a channel. It's easier to relate if they talk about things once in a while that they have.
Yeah, so I remember back when we were first, you know, I mean, before all of this, when we would go to the liquor store and we'd buy a bottle of whiskey and we'd come home and, you know, it would last us a night, and we're pouring heavy pours into cocktails, Jameson and ginger and stuff like that.
We definitely were not buying expensive whiskey.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, why would I pay $35 for that? Who does that? It's ridiculous. So I definitely understand why people are wanting to see those videos. They're looking for something, because they don't want to spend $35, $40 for a bottle of whiskey that they're going to take home, and it's not going to last them a year. It's going to last them a couple weekends maybe, or a month, or whatever their drinking schedule is. But they don't want to break the bank, but they want something that tastes good. So I get it. I understand why they request it, why they seek out those videos to find out, hey, I like this one. What does everybody else think about it too?
Well, it also might be like those list videos do great as well. But I think a lot of the bottom shelf whiskey videos are lists.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So it's like a 2-for-1. You get the
top 10 whiskeys under $30.
You get people watching it because it's a list, and you get people watching it because it's cheap. And I guess it's a 3-for-1. You get people that are like, I'm new to this, because there's always so many new people to it. So it's okay to keep putting videos out that thousands of other people have put out, because there's always new people. They're going to see your video instead of someone else's video or whatever. But they're new. They don't want to spend $100 on a bottle and not even know if they like whiskey by itself.
I don't want to spend $100 on a bottle of whiskey either. I have several times. I just don't. When I go out on the hunt, I'm not looking, hey, I'm going to go spend $100 on that bottle behind the counter in the glass case or whatever. That's not my mindset. I get drawn into those often.
Yeah, but when we were brand new to this, we definitely did not get drawn into that. We were not like, oh, give me that one behind the bar.
I'm never going to spend more than X dollars on a bottle of whiskey. I can.
And that number has changed lots of times.
Well, yeah, and I'm guessing it's changed for everybody across the country as prices continue to rise, and we still want to drink whiskey. It's just the reality of the world we live in. Prices are going up. If you want to take the ride, you got to buy the ticket.
So, are we done with this? Is it okay if I switch topics?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if you were done talking about that.
I mean, I said my piece on it.
Okay.
I both don't get it and get it all at the same time.
Okay. So, I went to the liquor store today, obviously. I picked up this bottle. I was going to record the hunt or whatever, but it was so crazy busy. I had to touch people to try to get around them to look at shelves, which, I'm not comfortable with at all. But then there was definitely people looking at the whiskey shelves that didn't know anything about whiskey. And I don't know if it's because I'm socially awkward and get really anxious when I want to talk to someone, but I wanted to chime in an opinion, but then I don't know, I constantly overthink it. I'm like, well, will this person be offended that I'm trying to give them advice, or will they accept the advice? I don't know. I think they grabbed a Gentleman Jack, and they were asking their buddy, have you ever had this? Do you know anything about it? And you know me, I'm all excited because they're grabbing a Jack Daniel's product. But it was sitting right next to the Jack Bonded and the Triple Mash and the Bonded Rye. I mean, there was whole lineup, the Single Barrel Select, all of them. And so many of them are cheap. I think the Gentleman Jack is cheaper than the Bonded, but not by that much, $5, $10.
Isn't it $30?
I was thinking it was 25 and the others are 30.
Okay.
So I wanted to pipe in and be well, maybe you should go for that Bonded, but I didn't want to. I don't know what I'm supposed to do in that situation. Do I just like do what I did and like don't talk to anyone and don't try to make conversation?
So this,
or should I like pipe in?
This is why we need business cards for the channel. You can hand them the card, which gives you instant credibility, and then just point to the bottle you think they should get and give them a thumbs up and walk away. And then they're going to look at the card and be like, what the hell was that? Who is this person? Oh, there's a QR code. Let me scan it. New subscriber, and you influence them to buy a good bottle.
But
or am I just talking trash right there?
I mean, I'm probably still not going to do that because I don't know. I'm not a sell myself kind of person. I've never been in marketing or whatever. But
I typically have no problem talking to people. Even at Total Wine, people are in there, looking for something ridiculous, and I'll just nod my head and yep, that sounds like a good one, or maybe you ought to think about this one instead though. And I've got.
Would it be offensive though? I just feel like
no, not at all.
If I grabbed a bottle and I was asking you, hey, what do you think about this? And their friend's like, I don't know. Well, would I want some random stranger to come up to me and be like, hey, I got a bottle for you?
You know what?
I don't know that I would because but most of the time it's like a Total Wine salesman.
What are you doing when you're looking for a whiskey review on YouTube? It's a total stranger telling you what they think about a product. Does that influence you to buy it maybe?
Yeah.
Of course. I feel like if you're able and willing and able to speak intelligently about a product and you're passionate about it like you are about Jack Daniels, they're going to listen. Even if they don't buy it, they're going to listen, ask you some questions, and that's your opportunity to explain who you are and why you know what you know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to open this guy. It's a screw top. This is a bottle I've been really excited about pretty much since I heard about it. So this is Jepsons bourbon. It's straight bourbon whiskey. It's cask strength, 120.52 proof. It is cognac finished. It was hand selected by Storytime Distilling Whiskey Club. And this is the Friday at Fred's cigar batch. It is 6.5 years old. I guess there were 180 bottles, and there's a spot for them to write what bottle this was, but they didn't write it on there.
That's okay.
But it's almost sold out.
I can't believe it isn't sold out with how much I've heard about this bottle.
So many of the channels that we watch and interact with, Bad X Bourbon, Bourbon Note, those bourbon guys, Bourbon School, all these people have been talking up this bottle for so long. It finally came in the mail today, and it's supposed to be the Joseph Magnus cigar batch killer.
Well, that's what they claim.
With a screw top.
I think it might be because it's got the cognac influence. Mm-hmm. We might have to grab the Joseph Magnus to get a little splash of that to just see if there's similarities or if they're just all crazy.
Well, it smells quite amazing.
It smells good. We've never had anything from Jepsons before.
I've honestly been kind of afraid because Jepsons makes Malort.
Which, again, we've never had. I hear it's disgusting. I believe people when they say it's disgusting, but we've never had it, so I can't compare, they make this bad product, so...
Yeah. So this is batch 134 of the Joseph Magnus cigar blend. We'll just do a little taste and review and side-by-side comparison.
Oh, I got too close to that.
You got in there a little deep?
I got a little deep. My nose hairs are singed. I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of similarities on the nose.
It tastes really good.
I feel like this might have a little more vanilla and sweetness that this one doesn't have, but they're pretty dang similar. It also could be the glass, we get a Glen versus a Whiskey Trail glass. They're different.
So, very similar tasting. I get a much better mouth experience off of the Magnus, but I don't know that it's $120 difference.
This is what, a $65 bottle?
Mm-hmm. And that's about $200, $180 plus tax. So I understand the hype over this Jepsons Friday at Fred's.
Oh yeah, that's way more creamy, and it's got like a cream taste. I think that was that vanilla.
Yeah, it's definitely the Joseph Magnus cigar blend is definitely better.
For sure.
But I don't feel like it's $120 better.
No.
I think it might be like $30 better.
That's the struggle with this adding price into. We don't generally add price into our reviews because it's so hard to like gauge price on things. You know, I was trying to put price into this High West because it's at that price range that everything else is. So I want to compare it to things at the same price range. It's different. It is different. It doesn't taste like those. This though, I would prefer this off the first sip. I would prefer this over this, and they're the same price.
Oh yeah. This hands down beats this. But I like finished whiskey.
Yeah, so do I. I love finished whiskey, and the whiskeys that I tend to prefer that aren't finished are ones that have more of those flavors like it would be finished. It's just that I want more of those other flavors instead of just the oak, vanilla, caramel, brown sugar, which I like those flavors too. If it has like that buttery butterscotch, then I really love it. But I think that's the only way I really love the basic bourbon flavors, if it has that kind of a thing.
Yeah, so I think like in your low-key way, you may have just crapped on bottom shelf whiskey.
We have so much whiskey, and honestly, a lot of it depends on my mood. Some days I don't want to think about the whiskey or anything. I just want to have a drink and enjoy it without really considering what I'm having. Yep. And at that point in time, and early times, I'd be perfectly happy with. Other times, I want to sit there and I want to smell it more than I'm drinking it. And like every sip, try to pull out different things. And in that stance, I don't want a bottom shelf whiskey. I want something amazing.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I feel like the early times bottled in bond is like the exception to the bottom shelf rule. I feel like...
Well, maybe that's why I keep using it, because I actually enjoy that bottle.
Yeah.
And I don't enjoy most of the others.
I could drink that bottle neat. I can drink it in a cocktail, and I don't worry about mixing in a cocktail because it's $25 for a liter.
I made vanilla with it.
Exactly. It's just like that catch-all bottle. I don't believe that there's a huge difference between the blue cap and the black cap. I think that's just a lot of hype. There are subtle differences for sure, but it's grossly over exaggerated, those differences. And you know, you may have your own opinion on that, and that's fine. But as far as what you said, where, you know, if the mood strikes, you want to grab a bottle that, you know, you want to sit and smell, and you want to sip slow, and you want to contemplate and really enjoy it. I think that's the bulk of what we have on the shelf here.
I think it's because we moved all the stuff that we don't sip and enjoy into the studio room. But yeah, out here, it's just, there's so many sip and enjoy bottles.
Yeah, and I mean, it's super rare for me that I'm in that mood where it's like, I just want to have a drink and I don't want to think about it. Because I don't want to drink a ton. You know, I'm going to have a drink or two. And when I'm going to have just a drink or two, I want it to be something that's memorable, that I can sit for a while with and enjoy. I'm not grabbing those bottles that, you know, even like I just talked up early times bottle and bond. That's not one that I'm going to grab in that situation, which I feel is most of the times I drink. Honestly, more and more these days, I'm grabbing a single malt.
With the flavors of that. You definitely sit with a single malt a lot longer.
The westward cask strength, the Westland that we got out of Seattle.
But I would say is the same idea. They have so much flavor that lingers that you don't really need to go back for another sip because it just like the taste. I don't know. Finish is such a weird thing with me. I can't decide if because the taste is still in your mouth, if that counts as a finish, or like 10 minutes later, or if you have to like still be having the experience. I'm not really sure where you'll draw the line of that's the end of the finish or that's not the end of the finish. But again, I just keep changing subjects.
Well, I feel like a lot of people, you know, they consider themselves proof hounds and they love those super high proof bourbons and stuff because of the experience in your mouth when you take a drink of it.
Oh yeah, we were totally that for a while.
And I still am. I'm not like discounting that at all. But I feel like that's the whole chase for this proof is that mouth experience. I feel like with a single malt, whether it's an American single malt or a Japanese or a Scotch or an Irish or any of these, I feel like they're able to grab those crazy flavors and mouth experience at a much lower proof. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people pass on a lot of really good whiskeys because of proof. You know, they're like, that's not worth the price because it's only X proof.
Yes, which we've probably had that same argument as well. We've heard everyone else make that same argument. I feel like we started the conversation with this kind of proof versus stats type of thing. And a lot of times proof can make a meh whiskey better, like good or great, because you get that extra oomph with it. Where to have a lower proof whiskey that's great, it's got to be great. You can't hide behind. Yeah,
there's no hiding any sharp edges in that lower proof whiskey.
And you know, there are some low proof whiskey that aren't good.
I totally agree.
But there's a lot of high proof whiskey that's not that great either. Yeah. It's just it gets more praise because it's high proof. So you get that experience, even though there's a lot wrong with what's going on in the mouth.
This guy is getting so stinking sweet, like syrupy sweet.
I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it's a great pour. Do I think it's a Joseph Magnus killer? No.
No, I don't think it is either. I think it's good, and
I think it's great.
I'll go with your great. I would be satisfied anytime I had this pour.
Yes.
But it's hard to say if it's a Joseph Magnus killer. It depends on your metrics. Is it better tasting than Joseph Magnus? No.
Nope.
For sure, no. I think when most people say it's a Joseph Magnus killer, they're talking about the price.
Yep.
And that's where I struggle with the putting price into the equation, because I don't know how much to weigh into it with price. Because it's different for everyone. You know, $10 for one person difference in a bottle could be a big deal, where other people, $10 difference in a bottle, no big deal. Where this is $120 difference, that's a huge deal, no matter what your price point is, unless you get that FU money, and then you probably don't care, but we're not those people.
Right. And you and I have had this conversation before. We have 2 bottles of Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend, and neither one of us feel like we're going to buy a third.
The only way we'll buy a third is if it's Bobby's.
Yes.
The Bad Axe.
Batch 188, Bad Axe Bourbon Batch. If I come across that in the wild, I will probably spend stupid money. Just because
of that. Not because of necessarily the bottle itself.
And by stupid money, I mean like maybe $250. Yeah. Which is...
in Washington, that's about right.
Right. But since we've had those 2 bottles, I've come across Joseph Magnus Cigar Batch in the wild 3 times, and I've passed on it every time.
It was on your list as one of the, like, we gotta get one of those bottles.
Yeah.
And we did, and you loved it, which is why we got a second,
Yep.
because I bought it for you for
Yep.
our anniversary.
Yep.
But
and those are both very special bottles. I love them both. But I don't need to continue to spend that kind of money for it, especially when stuff like this exists. Now, like we said before, Joseph Magnus Killer, it's been called. I don't think so. Is it a solid replacement when you don't want to spend $200 on a bottle? Sure.
I'd say it's worth more than what it is, what it's priced at.
I got no problem drinking this bottle often.
And when it's gone, it's gone.
And when it's gone, it's gone.
I'm not going to be sad because it doesn't have sentimental value.
Yep.
I think a lot of times when we're sad about a bottle, it's because of sentimental reasons with it. Like it was a birthday gift or a Christmas gift or anniversary gift, or it was our first BTAC.
Yeah,
or
something that we've been looking for forever, and we finally found it. Absolutely. So
some kind of memory.
In that regard, I feel like, again, the Joseph Magnus is elevated. Because, one, we looked for it for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Two, there's sentimental value attached and special occasion type purchase. And those are not bottles that I'm going to reach for often because of that.
I think that adds to the sentimental is that we make sure it's like a special moment when we have it. You know, it's not necessarily a special occasion, but we make sure that we're like sitting together and we know that's what we're drinking, and so we like focus on it, and so it makes it more, it adds to the sentimental value.
Yeah. And you know,
more memories.
We probably got 25 to 35 bottles in this room that check that sentimental value box.
I would say probably.
And those are the ones that we will probably milk the longest.
The problem is they're going to be like 5 years. We're going to have the bottle for like 5 years total by the time we finish them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know that that's a problem though.
No, but when we start, we run out of room. If everything has a sentiment, and gosh, I can't even talk. If everything has a value, not so much the price, but the memory, and we only want to like savor it, and we've got 300 of those savoring type of things.
I said 25 to 35.
Yeah, we have 25 to 35 that have sentimental value, and then, you know, probably at least that many that are high price, so we don't want to sip them very often, and or ones that we'll never buy again because they were expensive or whatever.
Sure.
We have a reason why we don't kill like bottles ever.
And now I feel like you've come full circle and you're back to advocating for bottom shelf whiskey.
But we don't drink bottom shelf whiskey.
We do.
When?
We just typically drink it in a cocktail.
Well, that was a great discussion, and I hope you guys enjoyed at least part of it. Thank you for sitting in and listening to us ramble about whiskey. Let us know if there's any topics that you think are pressing or you are very opinionated about, and maybe we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah, for sure. In the comments, leave us some ideas about stuff you'd love to hear us ramble about. Because one thing we love to do is ramble about whiskey.
Yeah, that's what we do most of the time, most nights, but there's usually not a camera recording it. So some conversations, I wish there was a camera, but today there is a camera.
Some of them I'm happy there's not.
So anyway, check us out on our Instagram and we've got Patreon now. We appreciate you watching our videos, TikTok. We are releasing a ridiculous amount of videos. We will be possibly when this video is released, we might be at 1,000 subscribers. We're so close. So thank you for your support and thank you for watching. We will see you soon. Cheers. How are you done?
I drank them. Sorry, I can't cheers with an empty glass. It's bad luck.
It is. Thank you. I just want to remind you guys that I will be doing a giveaway once I hit 1,000 subscribers on my live stream. We will be giving away a Henry McKenna 10, an Eagle Rare, and a Blanton's. I just need you to subscribe, share my videos, leave comments, anything you can, and then join on the live stream once we hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching. Cheers.